Hi everyone, Annette Kessler here with a new project, and today we are going to make a really cool and magical infinity box. This is a never-ending box that is really easy to make. So what you will need are two 9 by 12 double-sided cardstock and one 12 by 12 double-sided cardstock. I'm using black. I think it's the best background, but you can use any solid color that you have in your stash. So we're going to start scoring first the 12 by 12 piece, and we're going to score it at 4 and then at 8, and then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and score it again at 4 and 8. This will give us 9 equal squares. The entire box is based on these equal squares that we're going to make. Next, we're going to score the 9 by 12 pieces, and we're going to score them the same. We're going to score them at 1 inch and then at 5 inches, and then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and score it at 4 and 8. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the second 9 by 12 piece. Basically what we're making is a large piece of paper that we're going to make the box out of, because we need a really large paper to make it an infinity box, and one piece of paper is simply not large enough. So what we're doing is preparing these pieces, and then we're going to glue them together to make one large piece to make our box. So once you have the other piece scored, we can go ahead and attach all 3 pieces together. So let's remove that. Now what we're going to do is attach the two 9 by 12 pieces together and then attach them to the 12 by 12 piece. So we're going to apply glue to that 1 inch tab that we have on the left. So on the 9 by 12 pieces of paper, we scored the paper at 1 inch, so we're going to apply the glue from the edge until the first score line on the 1 inch mark. Make sure to apply the glue all the way to the edges and all the way to the score line, because we need it to attach really well. We need it not to move. It needs to be like one big paper. So we're going to attach that, and when you glue the papers together, align them with both edges and don't cover the score line. Make sure that you attach the paper up until the score line without covering it, because that will interfere with the box folding properly later. Then you're going to do the exact same thing with the last piece. Apply the glue from the edge to the score line and attach it to the edge of the paper. Okay, so once you have all that attached, we have one large piece of paper, and we can go ahead and start cutting along the score lines. So what we're going to do is cut from the edge to the first score line. You can do this with scissors, but I recommend doing it with a craft knife, so the cuts will be really straight. But it's up to you. So from the first line to the edge, or from the edge to the first score line, we're going to cut along the score lines. This is going to be the part that then folds into itself and create the box. Then once we have all this cut, we're going to turn the paper and do the exact same thing on the other side. Just cut from the fold line to the edge, and make sure that the cuts are straight. Okay, so now we can go ahead and fold along all the score lines that we have. And again, all those folds need to be really burnished and really strong so the box will fold easily. Actually, I flipped the paper because I want the parts that are glued together, this part, to be on the inside. Don't want them to show on the outside, so that's why I changed the direction. It will look nicer and more professional this way. So I'm folding on the other side as well. You can see how this is coming along. Then we'll go ahead and fold on these lines. All score lines need to be really burnished and fold. Now, after we have all that done, I can show you how the box is going to work. So what you're going to do is fold this towards the inside, and each of the two sides are going to be folded on to the existing walls. So this is the never-ending box, and it's really, really cool, isn't it? It's fun this way. This is how it opens. So to cover, before we're covering the box, let's make the lid first. So for the lid, you would need a 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 square, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4 on all 4 sides. So I'm scoring it on all 4 sides at 1 1/4. Then we're going to make the lid for the box. Just fold on all the score lines. And then we're just going to cut the corners to make the lid. So what I like to do is I cut from the edge to the fold line, and then I trim a little bit out of the corner because that will make it look nicer when I fold it together. And I glue the walls of the lid. So we have our 4 tabs. We're going to apply glue, and then we're going to attach it, each of the tab, to the wall and make our lid. And then we can go ahead, after the lid is ready, we can go ahead and start covering the box with cover papers. So align the lid on all 4 sides, and then just let it dry for a little bit. Let's see that it fits perfectly. It closes the box and it holds the box in place. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start covering the inside of the box. To cover the box, you will need 26 squares measuring 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I've already cut them and arranged them on my box the way I want them to be. Instead of the cover papers, you can add photos, and you'll cut them the same size. You can mix photos with papers, with journaling cards, as long as they are in the same size. And you'll notice that I only cover the inside of the box because covering the outside will make it too bulky to close. It will be just too much paper for the box to close properly. So we're just going to cover the outside at the end, but not all the squares, just those that are facing the outside. So I've used colorful papers, arrange them to look nice, and then keep covering the entire inside of the box until all the squares are completely covered. And again, like I said, you can use photos instead, can mix with journaling cards. Just make it your own with whatever papers you have in your stash and make it pretty. Okay, so we have all our squares covered, and let's see that it still closes properly. I always like to check while I'm working to make sure that everything is still doing what it's supposed to do. So just make sure that everything closes, and you see how it starts to be a little bit difficult because of all the papers. You need to close it and open it a few times to make it work more easily. Okay, it still looks good. Now we can go ahead and cover the lid. And again, I've used the same size, 3 1/4 by 3 3/3 by 3 3/4, same size as the papers they're covering the inside of the box. And then let's see that it still works. We're going to cover these outside squares as well, just these ones, like I said, so it won't be too bulky. And we're also going to cover the sides of the lid. So again, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, all the squares have the same size exactly. So I've cut two different patterns just to alternate, so it will be a little bit more interesting on the outside of the box as well. And I'm just covering the outside, so it will look nice but won't interfere with the movement of the box when you open and close it. So let's finish covering all sides. And then for the lid, I've cut 4 strips. They measure 1 1/8 by 4. So that goes on the sides of the lid. Looks nicer this way. And again, you see that I use liquid glue so I can move it into place and make sure that I have that nice black frame around it like I like. Up to you if you want to use double-sided tape. Okay, so I think our box is ready. It's a really fun project, and I really hope you liked it. And if you did like it, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click on the little bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video so you won't miss anything. And this is the box when we open it. Looks really fun. Remember, you can add photos instead of just cover papers. Isn't that cool? It's really fun. Thank you very much for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.